At the end of August of this year, in one of the lawsuits regarding Ramsey Solutions, also known as the Lampo Group, lawyers for Ramsey Solutions filed over 1,000 pages of documents. This included transcripts of depositions from Dave Ramsey and board members, as well as copies of emails they had sent. I recently had a conversation with lawyer and my good friend Melissa J. Hogan, and I asked her if she would help us better understand what is happening with these lawsuits involving Ramsey Solutions.
Anytime I look at these cases, I go back a lot to John 3:20, which is, "For everyone who does evil hates the light and avoids it, so that his deeds may not be exposed." It just reminds me that we should all be living in a way that if a camera was following us around, our goal is to be able to stand by whatever we've said or done.
We talked about 3 ongoing lawsuits, and one of these lawsuits impacted Melissa personally. So these are the words of board members, the words of Dave himself. So this is why it is particularly interesting to the case and why I think people should pay attention, because this is Dave's own words and his inner circle, their own words.
And I had no idea God would use a case related to a woman I didn't know at all, who got pregnant, to start to reveal and peel back the curtain.
They asked him about this email where they referred to Melissa as a bitch. He said it was accurate.
It was hard. It was hard to read and reframe what I knew was happening in my life and what I knew was happening in my world. Actually, what I now find out they were saying in emails.
Yeah. And you'll get to hear what Dave said in an email about Melissa's father.
When my father called the company, Dave's perspective on that was that his trying to tattle on my husband was actually worse than having an affair.
But what listeners might not know, and what Dave did not mention, was that during the time that he was, like when you came to him that December of 2018, they called your pastor, your church leaders that were walking with you through this. And they told them, this is not just in the past. These things are happening right now.
Right now.
And they decided not to believe people that were independent of the whole situation. And Melissa and I talk about the seriousness of the libel against her that we observed in these filings.
I mean, there were suggestions of things said in there that can damage my reputation, could suggest somehow that my law license should be examined.
Do you think you have legal recourse for yourself?
I've thought about that. As a lawyer, you can't turn off your lawyer brain.
As a part of our conversation, Melissa and I mentioned an email that was attached in the legal filing that really caught our attention. Before the Religion News Service article comes out, they tell all of these employees, these are baseless allegations. There is nothing here. But they have already been considering firing him.
That people can use the name of God and the idea of prayer and the idea of supporting people in ways that are so damaging and so deceptive. So at one point in Jen Sievertson's deposition, and Jen Sievertson is the chief marketing officer of Ramsey, they asked her about Bible verses about throwing stones at people. And she said, "I believe there's a story about that." And they asked, "Do you remember the context?" And she said, "Loosely, yes." They asked, "What was it? What do you remember?" She said, "A woman that was engaged in sexual immorality was being brought before the Pharisees." And they said, "Okay, and wasn't Jesus involved in that story?" She said, "Yes." They said, "Didn't he encourage the Pharisees not to throw stones at the woman who was engaging in premarital sex?" She said, "I believe so." And here's the question. So is Ramsey Solutions more like the Pharisees or the woman?